Mhm. Let's so welcome to the Tibetan grammar class on the speech of the tree of excellent speech. Uh, Last time we discussed the verse of worship. We we had a little uh, introduction to the author. We talked about the author, his biography, very briefly. Actually, if you're interested, you can actually find more about him. Uh, so, if you're interested to learn about Yangchen, you can find it in the uh, you can find it in the uh, internet. So, okay, so today we're going to discuss the pledge of composing. So, similar to the verse of worship, you'll find that most of the text, uh, most of the Buddhist text, uh, be it Indian or Tibetan Buddhist text, you'll find that there is something called the pledge of composing. So, what is a pledge of composing? Pledge of composing is uh, it's a vow. It's the vow or commitment that the author takes upon writing a book. So he makes this pledge or vow to himself uh, and to all the readers and all the scholars uh, that through this particular text that he is writing at this very moment, he's going to establish something out of it. That is, he's saying that once I'm done with this particular text, I will make sure that this is able to do this. And that is the pledge of composing. And different texts have different pledge or commitment of composing, depending on, like we discussed during our last class, we discussed, it depends first on what particular type of what particular type of text uh, we are actually talking at this very particular moment. And the second thing is uh, which basket this particular text belongs to. And accordingly, the author, what they do is that they take the commitment or they take the vow or pledge of composing the particular text to fulfill a particular goal that they have written in the beginning of the book. Now, why do they write it in the beginning of the book? Because when they have made the commitment, it becomes a reminder to them that whenever they are writing, it should be in the boundary of those commitments. And that each of the word that they are stating should be true to their commitment. And that is the reason why they write it in the beginning of a particular text that they are writing. Similarly, in this case, he had also written his pledge of composing, and he has written. So this is directly from the text. And those who have joined in, let me give you a most humble reminder. That is, please memorize the text. That some of you have asked me to read the text again, more to read it again slowly, and I will do that. So therefore, the thing is that the text have already been sent to you. So if you start memorizing it, you will be able to memorize the entire text in probably 2 or 3 months. So therefore, I most humbly request every one of you to memorize the text, because the text is going to be very useful even after this particular course, this course on after taking this course. This text that you have memorized will be useful for you when it comes to Tibetan grammar throughout your life. So therefore, please memorize this. Okay, so continuing the lesson. So this is from the text. So the name of the text is Lekshe Jungwa. So the tree of excellent speech. Temi Lekshe Sumjube Ningbo Dordu Shebarcha. So here we have only 2 lines. And these 2 lines are the pledge of composing. So what is the author committing to? What is the pledge, or what is the author committing to? The author is committing to the fact that the first line, Tumi Lekshe Sumjube. Tumi is another name for Tumi Sambuddha. Tumi Sambuddha was a very profound scholar and of Tibet, and the minister of the king, Songtsen Gampo, one of the 3 jewel king of Tibet, one of the 3 Dharma king of Tibet. Songtsen Gampo had a very wonderful minister. His name was Tumi Sambuddha, also known as also called as Anu in some text. So he went to India to study the Indian text and Indian language, and Indian text, language, and especially their discipline of grammatical system known as the Vyakran. So normally pronounced as Vyakarana in Tibetan. So he studied most of the text under that particular discipline of the grammar. So from the great Pandita Devasingha, and then after he came back to Tibet and established the current system of Tibetan writing and grammar system. And he has, in total, he had written 8 different texts, which was lost during the end of the which was lost at the end of the long succession of monarchs in Tibet, which was in some history books you may see it to be the 39th king, in some the 40th, some the 41st, 41st, and in some very rarely 42nd king, Hudum Zembo. It was his time, during his time, where most of the texts were demolished. And it was also the end of the first translation. So it was the end of the first translation. So some of you may also heard it. Some of you may also have heard the term Nyingma. Nyingma is nothing but the old translation, the first translation, which was initiated during the King Songtsen Gampo. Later, it was later made more. It was later this work was further spread by Trisong Deodzin, during whom two very profound masters, one being the abbot of Nalanda, that is the Shantarakshita, other being a great scholar from the Udayana, known as Padmasambhava, came to Tibet. And from there, the old translation began to flourish. So during that time, these texts were still there. And out of those 8, now only 2 are remaining. One is known as the gender sign, and the other is known as the 30. And here we are studying the 30. Here we are studying a commentary on 30. So there are many commentaries on 30. There's a commentary by many great scholars, including scholars such as Tirti Rinpoche, scholars such as Sakya Pandita, and then many contemporary scholars, meaning many scholars in the late 20th and late 20th and early 21st century, some of whom have already passed. So there are many commentaries, and out of those, this particular commentary is famous for being the most easiest to understand, as well as the most concise. So it's like a formula. This particular text, the Tree of Excellent Speech, the reason why I'm teaching it first is because this becomes the formula towards learning all the other texts that is on 30. Once you have mastered this, then you will just have to read 30, understand the meaning of the word that the 30 uses. And once you are able to do that, all of the rules are already there with you. And those are in the text. Those are in the text that is the Tree of Excellent Speech. So you see that therefore this text is concise, and many may say that this text is relatively easy. Definitely it is relatively easy, but the thing is that you'll find that as we move on with this text, I will bring in some elements of I'll bring in some elements of other text in this, so that you get the idea of what this actually is, this 30. So that later, if you are interested, when we're going through with 30, you'll understand that most of the groundwork and the structure has already been covered in this class. Therefore, so Yangchen Dorje says, I pledge that Tumi Leksha Sumchupe, meaning the excellent speech of Tumi Samputa, which is the 30 of the 30, Ningpo Dordu Shepacha. I shall state here the very essence of that very, I shall state here the very essence of that teaching which is the excellent speech of Tumi Sambuddha called the 30. I shall state here. So, Ningpo, meaning the essence. And Dordu means very concise. Shepa means to make understand. So, meaning I will state here and make people understand. By learning this text, I will make them understand the very essence of the 30, but not in a very elaborate manner that they will feel like, oh, this text is so long, it's so lengthy, I will not be able to finish it. Not in that way, but in a very concise manner that they will feel like, oh, this I can actually learn because it doesn't feel that long, as well as not something that is very difficult, so that people will feel, oh, this is too difficult for me. Like last time we already talked about one of the three laziness, which is the laziness. One of the laziness was laziness of self-inadequacy, meaning feeling that I'm not enough, that kind of laziness. So therefore, if it was too difficult, people will feel, oh, I will not be able to take this because it's too difficult. If it's too, even if it's not difficult, but if it's too long, people will feel, this is too long, I will not be able to finish it. It takes 10 years. How am I going to spend 10 years for this? So he has said, I shall state the essence of, I shall make everyone understand the essence of Timisambuddha's 30, but in a very concise and easy manner. So, and now here I have written, I have given the general structure of our course, which is the essence of the 30. So the first one is the general classification of basic sounds, which we will do. The second one is vowels and consonant under the basic classification of sound, classification of consonants, noun, name, and word, very important concept. The connective particles, dependent connective particles. What are the dependent connective particles? So we will do all the dependent connective particles. 8 grammatical cases and connective particles. First grammatical case, name and recompound particles. So there are 8 grammatical cases and connective particles under the dependent particles. The particle of la, the particle possessing e, the ornamental and inclusive particles, the continuative particles, the differentiating and inclusive particles, clarification on usage of ra, ru, yi, hang, yang, ablative case and vocative case. So till this portion, it's all dependent connective particle, which consists of 8 grammatical case and the connective particles related to all these 8 grammatical case. The first one is here. The second, the fourth, and the seventh will be here. The third and sixth will be here. This is not a grammatical particle, grammatical case. This is not a grammatical case. This is not a grammatical case. Though these are used in sentences that may consist of the grammatical cases. These two. This is just a clarification of the usage of some of the connective particles that we will be discussing till this point. This is the 5th grammatical case, and this is the 8th grammatical case. So till this point, it will be dependent connective particle. We will discuss what is dependent connective particle at this point. And then independent particles. The particle of ni, the particle of tang, the particle of te, the general particles, the possessing particles, the negative particles, the particles such as xing, and then finally punctuations. She, there are different types of she and hingo, which is the symbol that comes in the beginning of sentences or any statement, any paragraph. So this is the essence, or this is what we're going to learn in the Tree of Excellent Speech, and this is what is the essence of the 30. So this is what the 30 is all about. So once again, first, chapter would be on the general classification of basic sound, under which the first unit is vowels and consonants, second is classification of consonants, third is name and word. Then the second chapter would be the connective particles, and the first unit would be dependent connective particles. And under that, the subunit would be the 8 grammatic. So under that, we'll introduce this. This is just an introduction. So the first subunit would be first grammatical case, name and recompound particle, very important. And then second would be the particle of la. This will have many variation, many definition, many usage. The particles possessing e, 2 types, but still many different usage case, many definitions. The ornamental and inclusive particles, only 2 types, but still they have variation and types in each of the cases. The continuative particle, it's a continuative particle, but the commitment of each continuation is different, so there will be variation. The differentiating and inclusive case, this is relatively less in variation. So clarification on, so this is just a simple clarification. This might just take us 1 or 2 days to finish. The ablative case, definitely it has few variation, and vocative case, it just has a simple variation. So, and then independent particle, the particle of ni, it has different variations. Of tongue, it has different usage and variations. The particle of te, it's quite simple. General particles will have, some of the particles will have different companion words, so therefore there will be few variations. Possessing particles won't be very difficult, not too much variation. Negative particles itself will not be difficult, but we will discuss a concept called the negation. So negation is a very confusing concept, and it is important with this. It is something that we cannot avoid. So it's so those of you who have actually been studying the logics and epistemology in Buddhism, you're familiar with the concept of negation, the non-affirming and affirming negation. So yep, we're going to talk about negation here. And then particles such as xing, this is simple. There are no, though there are many particles, but there are very few variations in here. And usage of she, we have different type of she for different occasion. So there will be different punctuation. So there will be a little bit of variation. Other than that, this is what we will be studying for probably a year. Hopefully, we will be done in 1 year with all of this. So you'll see why it has to be almost a year to finish the entire thing. Okay, so now today we're going to start with the general classification of basic sounds. So this is when we say basic sound, we mean that since in Tibetan, the thing is that everything is everything is written, and everything sounds exactly the way it is written. Meaning, the way you write is the way you pronounce it. You see, therefore, we have to. Therefore, we have this special text that talks about the gender signs, because it talks about the different sounds and the masculinity and femininity of the sound. So therefore, the first chapter is the general classification of basic sounds. So from the text, 렉시 정원래 영기 차와 셀보루 체바 이우 에오시 실체 가소 숨주이. Okay, so the first line, the first 2 lines, what it does is what it does is that it tells us about the first classification of the basic sound, which is the vowel. So therefore it says that yangi chawa selporu cheba yu eushi, meaning to make apparent the function of the vowels, there are 4 different sounds. And these 4 different sounds are I, U, E, O. So the 4 different sounds that makes the sound, that makes the function of the vowel apparent are I, U, E, O. And there are 30 different consonants. There are 30 different consonants. So the general classification of basic sounds are of 2 types: vowel, yang, and consonants, silche. So vowel and consonants are the 2 types of basic sounds. So the vowels are called yang and the consonants are called silche. So the thing is that this has, so like I said, we're going with the text, but I'm also bringing some of the elements from other text here to give you the idea of the entire structure of entire story of how the 30 is being perceived at this very moment by different scholars. So the thing is that there are arguments on a 5th non-apparent vowel. And this is done in the commentary of 30 by Situ Rinpoche. It's a commentary which is known as Situ Shalom, which is the word from the word from the mouth of Situ Rinpoche, and which was written down by his primal student or his main student, who is Dharmapata, Ngulchu Dharmapata. So in that particular text, it has been made an argument, and also by Situ Rinpoche himself, there was this argument that was made that says that there is a 5th vowel, the non-apparent 5th vowel. And this actually stirred a very big sort of argument between different scholars at that time. And the reason why Situ Rinpoche brought up the 5th vowel is all about the concept of a word, a particular word. No word in a language can be made possible without including a vowel, which is known as the essence letter. The essence letter. Sok, which means the essence or the life. So essence letter. So they said, and this was actually derived from the grammatical rule of the Sanskrit, according to him, where every word should consist of a vowel to be made into a word. And that very rule was brought to the context of Tibetan. And he said that this is the reason why, even in Tibetan, we have to consider the usage of the non-apparent vowel. Because if we don't do that, then there will be some word that will not have any vowel. And when he say any vowel, he means the other 4. So there was this problem there. Different scholars were having problem now, because if they consider the fifth vowel, the problem was that it was not stated in the 30. But that was not the only problem that was arising at that point. So thing is that the problem that was arising is that in the Tibetan grammatical, so other commentaries have stated word to be of two types. One which consists of a vowel, which is the word with a essence letter, 首件一义, and then word which does not consist of any vowel, which is known as consonant only sound, 首面一义. But if we consider there to be an apparent vowel to be existing, the problem that arises is that now there is no word in Tibetan that is consonant only sound word, a word that is consonant only. And the sound also, the basic sound, there won't be any sound that is consonant only. And this brings up a very big problem in the very structure of Tibetan language. And later, some scholar, what they did is that they classified a, which is the non-apparent vowel a. The thing is that during the commentary by the Siddharumbaji, he said the non-apparent vowel. So when we say non-apparent, very important thing to keep in mind is that it's not non-apparent due to it's not non-apparent because it doesn't exist. It's non-apparent due to not having any writing form, meaning whenever we write that character, we don't have to write a at the end. So therefore, there is no written form of the a whenever we say ka, ka, ka. But this is apparent. But still, this is apparent phonetically, meaning by sound it is apparent. When we say ka, ka, we see that at the end there is a. So therefore, it is phonetically apparent, but written or by form, it is non-apparent. So therefore, it is called the non-apparent vowel. Now, to fix this problem of the non-apparent vowel, what they did is that they categorized a, which is the non-apparent vowel, accordingly, as a group of its own. They started calling it the root letter. Mic, or the root letter, or the root sound, sorry, or the root sound. And so by doing that, what they did is that they say that it is a root letter. Therefore, it is something that is with all of the consonants, but it can also be used by itself. Therefore, it's a consonant. So it was considered to be a consonant as well as a root letter. So the consideration as a root letter, what it does is that it resolves the problem of making it into a non-apparent vowel, and keeping it as a consonant resolved the problem that was coming with not having a consonant-only sound. So now we also have a consonant-only sound, but we don't have to justify further that we hear the sound of a with all the consonant. We can simply say it's a root letter, and that's it. So therefore, thus we see that at the end, we can now conclude that there are only 4 vowels, which are the 4 apparent vowels, which are I, U, E, O. So these are just the sound, I, U, E, O. And these are called the ali. And this is a Sanskrit word, ali, which means the uh, rosary of the vowel, ali. So there are 4 ali, which is I, U, E, O. And these are only the sounds. So this is the sound of all of the vowels. This is the shape of all the vowels. And they have different names. These are the names of all the vowels. So the first vowel is called hiku. And it's interesting to know that each of the vowels are called particularly with such name because of their shape. So kiku, which has a shape like this and has the sound E when it's added, when it's pronounced. And whenever it's added with a word, what it does is that the word already has the sound ah. The consonant, when it's added with a consonant, the consonant already has a sound ah. So you just add, change that, substitute that ah with the E. So instead of ka, it becomes ki. So therefore, the sound is E. And the reason why it's called kiku is because kiku in Tibetan, which comes from the word kikusha, refers to a ceramic pot, the pot that we use for pouring tea, the teapot, ceramic teapot. The handle of the ceramic teapot has the shape like this particular vowel. Therefore, it's called kigu. So because it has a shape like the handle of a ceramic teapot, which is called kigusha. The teapot is called kigusha. So the handle is, since it has a shape like a handle, it's called kiku. The second vowel is shabkyu, which has a shape like this and has a sound u. So for example, if we have a consonant such as ka, it has a at the end, you replace it with u, it becomes ku. So it is called shabkyu because kyu means hook, shape, and shab means foot, because you see that it always is attached at the foot of any particular structure, be it a simple and single consonant or consonant with another word, sorry, a letter. You see that it's always at the very bottom or at the foot, which is known as shab. And since it has a shape like hook, which is Q, it is called shabkyu. Now dingbo, which is this particular vowel, which has a shape like this. It has a sound A. If you have ka, simply remove a. After that, add A. It becomes K. So it is called dingbo because it is straight and erect. Dingbo means straight and erect. And since it is straight and erect, it's called dingbo. And then naro, which has a shape like this bird, which is stretching its wingspan. It's stretching its wings. It has the sound O. So if it's nga, which has the sound a at the end, remove the a, add the O, it becomes ngo. It is called naro because it is stretch. To stretch is called nar. And since it's stretching, it's called naro. So naro. So another way of writing is narro or naro. It's quite the same because there's 2 repetition of ra, so we just made it naro. We just erased this ra, so it becomes naro. So you see that there are 4 vowels which have interesting names according to their shape, and which has particular function to make the sound of vowels apparent. So now one must understand that these vowels, they by themselves can never make a meaning. They don't have any meaning. They're simply sounds. They don't have any meaning to them, these vowels. Therefore, they need to be added to a consonant. When a consonant and a vowel come together, they produced a meaning. Otherwise, vowel by themselves don't have any meaning. Their only function is to manipulate the sound of consonant in any particular way that the vowel is able to do that. By either stretching it, by either making the sound short and high, either trying to curve the sound low or curve the sound high. So this is the function of the vowels. So we see, for example, if we have ka and we have kyugu, what we do is that we take this a, which is the non-apparent a, the root letter, the root letter here. We just replace this root letter by e. So it becomes ki. Instead of ka-i, it becomes ki. So one major difference comes from vowels being pronounced by or with an open vocal tract. So vowels are always pronounced with an open vocal tract, where some of the consonants, most of the consonants are done otherwise. So now the second type is the consonant, silche. So there are 30 basic sounds, which makes the sound of the consonants apparent. These are ka, 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 nga, cha, 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 nya, ta, tha, tha, na, pa, 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 ma, sa, ca, za, wa, sha, sa, ha, ya, ra, la, sha, sa, ha, a. So these are the 30 consonants. So these are the phonetics. So these are basic sounds that when combined with vowels forms name. So name is a very important concept in Tibetan grammatical system, which we will learn in detail as we move with this lesson. So a name is a free morpheme. So what do you mean by that? Is that it's a particular structure. It's a particular structure that has a meaning by its own, that can make a meaning by its own. You don't have to combine it with anything else to make a meaning. So therefore, it's a free morpheme. So that is so the thing is that a name is either made from a consonant-only sound, which is someigi, which means the name is made from a consonant only, or it is made with a consonant with vowel sound, sokjengi, which means that the particular sound is made with a consonant and a vowel. So we will be discussing this further when we come to the topic name. This is just a small reference to that. So for example, if we have like shit, posha the shit, we see that this is a particular name which doesn't have any vowel. It only has consonants. Pa, sha, ta. Therefore, it's a consonant-only sound. Someigi. Whereas rakataka is a name which is a consonant with vowel sound. Sokjengi. Meaning it has both a consonant and a vowel. Okay, so first I thought we should go further, but I think that this is probably enough for today, because you'll have to revise everything, and then the thing is that from this point onward, we're going to have assignments. So either today or tomorrow, you're going to receive assignments. You have to finish the assignments and send it to me either on the group, or you can send it to me through the email. The assignments will be, there won't be a lot of assignments. It won't be like many questions. It will be just few questions related to the very topic that we did, and will be, so therefore the reason why I told you to make notes is that some questions will be about the things that I just told you, like a little bit about Timisambuddha. Those will be coming in the assignments. So therefore, okay, so everyone will receive the assignments. Yes, or yes to me, or you can also do it through the class email. It doesn't matter, both are same. If you want me to do it as quick as possible, if you want it to be much quicker, then send it to the group, because the thing is that the probability of me checking the Telegram to the probability of me checking the email, it differs quite greatly. So therefore, if you do it either through Telegram, if you do it from through Telegram, and those who have my WhatsApp, if you want to do it through WhatsApp, you know that it is going to be faster. You're going to receive the answers. You're going to receive the correction faster. But if you send it through the email, it's not that it will be few days apart. It will be like probably few hours apart, but definitely you'll receive it. Oh, okay. If that is the case, then you can just do it the class. You can just send it to the email that is here. That's my email. You can send it through the email here, or through the Telegram, or through the WhatsApp. So either way, it will be done in 2 to 3 days. So depending on if on how much if there is teaching or not in that particular week. Otherwise, if there are no teaching, then you will receive your correction in 3 days. And make sure that you do the assignments. This particular course require you to do assignments because it requires you to retain the concept. It's not like the basic conversation classes. This actually goes into the more technical learning of classical Tibetan text. And therefore, make sure that you do the assignments. I'm very sorry if it becomes a little too much, but definitely it will help you speak better. Later, if you are willing to learn text, it will definitely help you understand the text so much better. And putting in this work, you will feel that later everything becomes easier. So yeah, the thing is that please send the assignments through either through email, Telegram, or WhatsApp. Now, before we end the class, does anyone have any questions regarding today's lesson? If you have any questions, please ask away.
Tenzila,
Yes.
looking at the summary of the classification, sorry, the what you know explained, I
Yep.
was wondering that my vocabulary is not very good. The Tibetan vocabulary is not very good right now. So, do you think I would be able to cope up with the things that you would be
So
sharing?
so the here the thing is that here uh, the the main thing that will be taught is mostly about the way you understand the structure of the language. And the thing is that if you have more vocabulary, you can make more variation of sentence. But my job here is to teach you how to make sentence. So when I say to teach you how to make sentence, it doesn't mean to make you memorize each and every one of the sentence and then make the sentence. Not like this. What I'll do is I will teach you the syntax, the very structure, and this is more. It has more to do with concept. So if you're able to retain concept, if you're able to retain the concepts, and if you're able to memorize the text which is being taught here, and for example, the thing is that vocabulary has not much to do with, for example, see, I said this is E, and if you're able to retain that, to see like, oh, this is Kiku, and the sound is E, that's enough for this. That's enough. But the thing is that as we move forward, there will be more and more of these concepts that you'll have to understand, and the vocabulary will only come in play when you know these concepts and you want to make sentences. And if you have a very small inventory of vocabulary, your sentence will be repetitive, and for each case you will be using same kind of word. That's it. But the thing is that you will know how each sentence work. So here we don't actually bother too much about the vocabulary, because this has this at this particular point, vocabulary becomes more of your responsibility and less of this class's responsibility. So if you don't have enough vocabulary, try to learn it, but it won't hinder you to understand this text, because this text teaches you how to make sentence. This text doesn't teach you how to make sentence by memorizing vocabulary, but teaches you the syntax of the sentence, saying like in English we say like, oh, for example, we say present simple, we have subject, we have present verb one, and then we have object, and that's the syntax of the present perfect, sorry, present simple. Similarly, we will be making syntax of structure of each of these sentence, and you will have to understand. If you are able to understand and not memorize, to comprehend that concept, and the that's the function of this class, and not the vocabulary. And vocabulary, what you can do is that vocabulary you can learn by so you're also attending the basic conversation, right? So you can
Right.
learn it there, and then you
Yes.
can bring it here. So this has nothing to do with vocabulary. So vocabulary will not hinder you here. It is a different field. Though it may be very, it may seem very contradictory. You may seem like, oh, he's teaching grammar, and then he's saying no need of vocabulary. But the thing is that that is the beauty of grammar. It teaches you the structure of things. It dissects the language. You see, it dissects the very particular language. And then the vocabulary is something that comes after that. And we will also see, we will see the very, so the thing that you will learn is that here we will learn what are the different types of words in Tibetan, and
Mm.
how to classify these words. And then those of you who have already studied some basic Buddhist philosophy, for you, just a heads up, when we talk about name, we will be, when it comes to name, as well as when we go to the connective particle, some of the connective particle, we will bring in the concept of something uh, that is learned during the very basics of the Buddhist epistemology, which is called the three of kind, the four of kind, mutually inclusive, mutually exclusive, and we're going to use that in this very particular context. And you'll see that I'm also going to use another method which does the exactly the same thing, but from a field that seems rather far from Buddhism, which is mathematics. So you see that in this we're learning more technical things. So vocabulary will be the last thing you will have to worry about.
Okay. So Tenzin.
Lasso.
Also,
Uh,
Tenzin, I think you should take some rest because your coughing doesn't look any better.
oh, I
Yeah.
I just it was bad yesterday. Today I'm recovering. This is recovery cough. Thank you very
Oh,
much. But this, thank
please
you
take
very
it. Yeah.
definitely. Thank you very much. So does anyone else have questions regarding today's lesson? Please, if you have, just ask away. Uh, ah, uh, if you have if you're either in the Telegram group or if you have given me your email, you'll receive the homework either from email or you'll receive I'll just share the home assignment in the Telegram. So uh, therefore, if you are in the Telegram group, you'll receive it in the Telegram. If you have given us your email, then you will receive it through your email. And accordingly, please send your answers, and you'll receive the correction of each individually. You'll receive corrections, and if it needs to be further clarified, you'll receive further clarification individually. So that the thing is that this text, even though people say that this is simple, but this text goes so much deeper than what most people think that they understand, and then you're going to taste this. Especially, I'm going to make sure that you taste what I'm saying, that you'll feel that this text goes so much deeper. I told you, this text comes under the basket which is of the wisdom. So if you actually understand all of the context of this actually this will actually lead you to understanding the true understanding of emptiness. So this is how deep this text is. So therefore, we're not going to go that deep because obviously I'm not that competent to take you that deep. But we will go to a certain degree. So if none of you have any questions, your assignments will be there either this evening or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. By tomorrow afternoon, you'll receive your assignments, and please send your assignments back to me. And yeah, this is if there's no further questions, this is it for today. And thank you very much for joining in. And I will see you on. Is it Thursday? The other class. It's on Thursday, is it? I'm very sorry. I forgot when the other class is.
Yes, Thursday.
On the Thursday, right? So I will see every one of you on Thursday. Have a good evening and tashidele.
Thank you. Take care, please.
Okay.
That's
Thank
all.
you.